Throughout the pandemic, one fact we came across again and again was that communities of color suffered disproportionately high rates of COVID-19. In addition to that, misinformation and disinformation targeted Black and brown communities, making some people hesitant to get a vaccine. So how could science and journalism work together to get the best information to everyone? We met a physician who's leading the way through social media.
I'm Dr. Dan Fabui. I'm an emergency physician by trade and a former Obama administration biodefense and public health appointee. I was appointed to the National Biodefense Science Board. We engaged in public health preparedness, anything that led to preparing for untoward events such as bioterrorism, chemical terrorism, natural disasters of any sorts, pandemics, environmental issues, anything that will affect the public health and the public health security. In the very first days of the pandemic, the issue with regards to information sharing was just rampant misinformation. In addition, there were no representation of BIPOC population, people like me that looked like me to be able to engage with our population. People heard from Dr. Fauci, great expert, mentor of mine, advisor, colleague. However, the message has to sometimes come from someone who actually represents a certain population. There wasn't a voice that represented Black and Indigenous people of color, so the whole BIPOC population. We literally kept saying we would be able to respond better, and then the undermining of science just literally drove me nuts, and I felt I was very pissed off, so to speak, literally. And that was the impetus for me saying, okay, you know what? I'm going to start getting on social media and engaging our population, the people who aren't represented, and also know that there are experts like me and many others that represent our color and race and background that can speak to this, and then also have a knack for making sure people can get digestible, tangible information that is accurate to help avoid some of this misinformation and disinformation that was just rampant.
This is Dr. Dan here. As usual, I'm here to give you public health information, digestible so that you understand it, and we take away the medical jargon and the mystery around all these things.
Dr. Daniel Fabui, an ER physician and former Obama administration appointee, has been rooting out misinformation online. He joins us now with 5 steps we can all take to separate the facts from the fiction.
Most often I hear that the vaccines are going to make you light up and glow in the dark. I've heard also that the vaccines have nanoparticles in them, which means you're going to have some relation to 5G and it's going to beam you up to the sky. I mean, these are some of the questions. They also say that, or most often I've heard that they say, it's going to get into my nucleus and it's going to change my DNA. I'm like, your nucleus and your DNA, do you even know what that means? There are a lot of things such as town halls that I do. I've been fortunate to do, reaching out to different communities all across the country and even overseas, where we have Zoom calls, we may have Teams calls, we may have a Facebook chat, an Instagram live chat, and even on Clubhouse, where we are able to interact and engage with different populations. We're engaging the community, talking about the concerns about the vaccine and their vaccine hesitancy, or also vaccine shortage initially. So those were some of the 2 dynamics that were going back and forth that you had to educate people on. And literally people just want that one-on-one time to be able to dispel any myths or address any of their concerns. It's almost like a military guerrilla warfare in the sense where we actually have to now go into neighborhoods, into towns via technology, i.e. Zoom, Clubhouse, Facebook, whatever you have it, regular media, print media, all those things, to be able to engage these different pockets of populations that have their own different factions and different thoughts about what is actually going on and what they believe and why they're not taking the vaccine. And that's one of the things I talk to them about. I say, I need you to understand your why or why not. And then once we start to get that, or when I understand where they are, I can meet them where they are to start to unravel some of the mistrust and also some of the and misinformation that they have.
Dr. Dan, thanks so much for being here. I imagine this past year has been incredibly busy for you.
Journalists can be your friend or foe. They just, hey, we got this information and it's published and pushed out, but it needs to be vetted by a scientist or someone in the medical field who actually understands it? Do you have a biodefense expert? Do you have a public health expert? Someone who's actually done the work in disasters and emergency management, who understands it, who served on those boards that are significant, that have been tackling these issues, H1N1, Ebola, all those other things, SARS. So those are anthrax. Those are the types of people you want because they understand their space. So what we need to do is to be able to have some policies that will affect how we actually address media and messaging with regards to public health emergencies. These wonderful social bodies and platforms such as the Facebooks, the Googles, the Clubhouses, the whatever you have it, that they also are accountable and make sure that they get trusted messengers and amplify those messages of those trusted outlets. I think we need to amplify the voices of those who are in the science-specific fields and to be able to kind of quickly and swiftly remove any misinformation that's out there. It doesn't necessarily mean vaccine shaming or other types of things, but I think it's really just identifying those things, putting those policies in place, but expecting those platforms to be part of the solution. They have to be accountable. You know, I get some of the negative ones where they're like, I can't believe you're gonna have people take this poison. Why are you doing this? They're gonna control us. They being the government or whoever. You work for the white man. You're an operative. You're getting paid by them. You know, these are some of the negative things on different platforms that you see people kind of respond to that way. But overwhelmingly, I get a lot of positive feedback. Oh, you helped me make the decision to get the vaccine. Oh, I had my grandma listen to you on Clubhouse or on this Zoom call, and we've made a decision. I was really ambivalent about this and I wasn't clear, but thank you for spending the time. I've now made a decision to get me and my family vaccinated. I was able to identify my why. You said to figure out my why. I figured it out and I'm going to get the shot. I've always been a public servant from the military to biodefense world and public health. But I've been very fortunate to do that and to see the impact on people. That was definitely rewarding for me.